Hey everybody, it's beginning of April. It's the weekend and we're continuing to do some work here in the garden. So what have we done this weekend? Well, a couple things here. Let me start in the back. So we went to the local nurseries again to see what new and exciting plants they have at the store, and they had corn. Now, I don't know if any of you have grown corn. You know, corn sometimes can be a challenging thing. It requires a lot of fertilizer and a lot of care and that. But I'm doing a little experiment here with corn in a grow bag. So, you know, I like doing different methodologies of growing, raised beds. You've seen us do quite a bit. And in the past, we've done a lot of grow bags. That's kind of how we started. And so now I'm kind of thinking, well, let's do some more grow bag testing. So you can see here that I've got a 10-gallon grow bag, and then I have 4 corn plants that we bought and we put here in the grow bag. And I've seen where people have put even a lot more in even smaller grow bags, so I think this should work out fairly well. But in here I have a combination of some peat moss, some soil, and some perlite to keep it airy, to keep it light, to keep it well drained, but also to keep it moist. And then I have some mulch on top. So, you try to utilize all your spaces. And in this corner, you got one raised bed and then another raised bed, and that leaves this gap here. It's like, well, why do we just have a gap there? Why don't we utilize it? So what I did is stick another little sprinkler irrigation to get a little bit more water, and I stuck them right here in the corner. Now they get sun here. They got the fence to give it a little bit of maybe protection, but if you can imagine corn being that small now and then grow probably at least to the height of the fence or maybe a little bit bigger, we'll just have to remember to maybe give it some extra fertilizer too, because I guess corn is a heavy feeder, if I'm correct on my assumption. So anyways, we got some corn there, so why not? Let's give it a shot. We've never grown corn. Now, is it going to be challenging because of things like squirrels? Yeah, you betcha. As soon as that gets big, birds and squirrels, we're going to have to watch. So we'll have to do something creative to save the corn if it gets that big. Now, the other thing that I've done here, I'll walk back over here to the main garden. Of course, we got, as you saw before, the raised beds and my frames. And what I did here, of course you can't see anything yet, but I planted some new beans here yesterday. It's the Chinese long beans, if you've ever seen those, where typically string beans are, so big and they grow on the ground low. But these are the Chinese long beans that could be like 2-3 feet long, and so it'll trellis up and then create these big long Chinese beans, and they're really good. So we're going to try that. Now, the other thing that I'm doing is, you can see that I've got the beds and I still got room. I could do more raised beds, but right now I've trying to do, like I said, a combination of some other things. So to give you an example of that and what you can do too, you don't always have to spend more money on raised beds, but you can do it in a more cost-effective manner, and that's again with the grow bags. So here I've had my frames, and my frames aren't very expensive to build. They're made with 10-foot electrical conduit that I cut down to a more manageable height. And then I use this fencing with zip ties to secure it up. And then I have 4-foot rebar into the ground that then this slides over. And then I got here in the grow bags, I got 2, and I planted some seeds here, some what they call Chinese bitter melon. It's this variety is actually a white Japanese variety. But I put the seeds in here, and then 2 each, and then when they start to sprout, of course it will climb up here as well. And then I stuck another going down my irrigation row, and since the grow bag's a little higher, I put my irrigation on a little bit higher pedestal to get up and over. You could also use drip irrigation. I've done different things, both drip irrigation and with the, putting an individual spigot into a pot, or this is more of a broader base, so you can try different things. What I've been doing lately is because we're here in North Texas and it's extremely hot, and you really got to get a good soaking in to, one, reduce the overall ambient temperature and just get a wider area. I've gone to these, sprinkler rotor heads that, maybe aren't as precise of putting the water right by the plant, let's say, but it's more of a broad base and gets everything soaked, because come the summer I have to water at least twice a day because it just gets too hot, and we need that constant moisture. And it's more, in some ways it's more efficient because I can get a broader base if I'm trying to get this whole area watered. And so as the different zones start and stop, they kind of cross-pollinate each other. And when you're doing the drip irrigation, I mean, that works too, but like I said, I've kind of moved to this to see how this works, and probably the best thing to do might be a combination of both. In some cases I could have the individual dripper emitters here in the pot while using a broader based rotors out there. There's no right or wrong. It's kind of like what fits for your climate, your situation, and everything. But anyways, we're gonna see if the bitter melon will come up there. One of the things for grow bags in North Texas is that you probably have to use the bigger bags rather than the smaller, just because they dry out quicker. Grow bags will dry out faster than the raised beds in that. That's because the air and the breathability and stuff. So it has to be watered, more often and whatnot. So we'll give this a shot. And the good thing with grow bags is you can move them around if you don't like where it's at, because there's a better spot. That's a little bit of a nice thing to do too. Eventually, to be honest with you, I'll probably extend my raised beds just with the way I'm doing it, because I like the look of it aesthetically, and it seems to be efficient and kind of my style. But I'm just kind of going on the little bit cheaper and trying with the grow bags to see what I can do too. And I might do that with some space here and some space here, because I got a lot of grow bags from my previous gardening, and it's just a matter of putting some good dirt, some fertilizer, keep it watered, and you shouldn't have any problem. So yeah, so that's kind of the stuff that we've been doing here this weekend. We'll continue to work on the garden every weekend as we plant more flowers. And the next thing here is that, now this is a huge area, and now you can go to the big box store and get bags of mulch and cover this up, but there's a lot of area here, and that could be even a little bit more expensive. And so what I'm going to use is the free mulch service that is in the area. When they cut down a tree, rather than take it to the dump and get rid of it, they'll bring it to people who want wood chips. And you can go to, I think it's the website here in the US is chipdrop.com, and you can put yourself on the list, and then I'll just haul the mulch back here and cover it up, and there we go, keep the weeds at bay. But anyway, so you can see that the garden's starting to take shape, and the trees, you can see my mulberry is starting to bloom, the white flowers here starting to turn into leaves, and so we'll see, maybe we'll get some fruit on these young trees. But yeah, even the fig tree starting here, just like I showed you my fig trees at the other house. The apricot tree is starting to make flowers, so everything is coming up, which is really nice to see. And then even the peas and snow peas are going to pop up, and then like I say, after spring then we'll switch it out and grow some other things on the trellis. So it's kind of nice when you got these different seasons, as one thing comes out and put another thing in, and that's where in some cases I'll start some seeds in my seed lights, and so then I can transplant them right out. Again, I'm really happy to see the raspberries take, because I was worried that I might not have any raspberries on the transplanting this year. So you can see how they're coming up and greening out. All right, so that's about it, folks. We will see you again in another video. Thanks for watching.